Have you ever had a truly terrifying paranormal experience? The kind of bone-chilling encounter with the unknown that haunts you for the rest of your life? Most of us haven't. But today I'll share 3 horror stories from those who claim they have lived through the paranormal. Buckle up if you dare, because these blood-curdling tales may forever make you question what lurks in the darkness: the haunted daycare. Our first story comes from John, an unassuming daycare custodian whose brush with the paranormal turned his world upside down. The fateful incident occurred at just past sunset one late autumn day as John completed his daily custodial duties alone after closing. The quaint daycare resided on the grounds of a Catholic church complex. As John hauled the last crates of Thanksgiving decorations into the dank basement storage room, an uneasy silence descended. He couldn't ignore the menacing vibe that radiated from that cluttered, dimly lit space. John was ready to call it a day when faint giggles shattered the quiet. He knew right away these weren't his own imagination. The childish laughter undoubtedly echoed from somewhere within the storage room. John frantically scoured every corner, his pulse throbbing. "Who's down here?" he called out, hands trembling. "Come out!" Only dead silence greeted him. Still, he felt unseen eyes tracking his every move. The disembodied laughter persisted over the next hour, no matter how doggedly John searched for its source. By this point, he admits terror blazed hot under his skin. As a last resort, he phoned his supervisor, Bob, nearly incoherent over visions of a ghost child lurking in that accursed basement. But John's nightmare was far from over. Even after thoroughly searching the basement top to bottom, police found no trace of any child, living or dead. John resigned on the spot, refusing to endure another minute under that daycare's roof. He fled that job without a backward glance, desperate to leave its unnatural tenant behind forever. So what happened in that eerie basement to unravel a hardened man like John in mere minutes? He stands by his account of spectral laughter and footsteps hounding him until the bitter end. We may never know the true explanation. But something in those shadows crept right under poor John's skin and took up residence in his soul. He maintains to this day that the presence he encountered was terrifyingly real, and it had no intention of letting him leave unscathed. John continued experiencing unexplained laughter and chilling paranormal activity even after thoroughly searching the basement and calling law enforcement. The final straw occurred as he headed out late that night, shaken to his core, yet desperate for normalcy again. Hand trembling on the light switch, John glanced back into the dark void of the basement one last time. What he witnessed then etched terror into his soul forevermore. A spectral, unnaturally elongated silhouette flickered into existence by the basement door. John reports it resembled a child, but impossibly tall, limbs spindly and twisting, a distorted shadow puppet. As it crept closer, long, spidery fingers curled around the doorframe. Frozen in disbelief, John saw it, a razor-toothed rictus grin splitting across where its face should have been. A bone-chilling, inhuman giggle bubbled up like a death rattle. Then, as suddenly as it manifested, the creature dissipated before John's bulging eyes. John has never returned there since. Haunted by trauma, he remains convinced the daycare basement was home to a dangerous supernatural entity, a being far removed from this earthly plane, except to torment human victims it ensnares. While we may never fully unravel fact from fearful fiction, the terror burned into John's mind that night will never fade away, nor will the unsettling possibility it could someday return. Midnight Intruder. After John's unsettling paranormal basement encounter, you'd be forgiven for dismissing ghostly visions as products of an overtired mind. But our next tale may give even the staunchest skeptics pause. Unlike John, who faced his fears in a darkened subterranean crypt, 27-year-old Amy was rudely jolted from the comforts of home by a series of bizarre nocturnal incidents defying all logic. Amy relished lazy nights alone in her modest apartment after long days pouring concrete on commercial builds. A hot shower, leftovers microwaved from the fridge, mindless TV until she drifted off right there on the couch. Her routine brought welcome calm amid chaos. But on one nondescript night, the integrated solitude Amy cherished quickly turned sinister when a disembodied voice shattered the midnight silence. "Amy!" A woman's muted voice called out from the unoccupied living room. Amy tore off her sleep mask and fumbled to ignite every light. She scoured every room, kitchen cupboards to closet corners, finding nothing amiss. No intruder, supernatural or otherwise, had breached the dead-bolted front door, nor slipped through a barred window. Sleep now proving maddeningly elusive, Amy finally managed to dismiss the anomaly as a mere trick of her weary mind. She had no clue something far worse lurked just out of sight, waiting to descend. A blood-curdling vision jolted Amy awake hours later, as pale moonlight flooded unbidden into her darkened bedroom. An impossibly tall, twisted silhouette loomed beside her bed, its misshapen head nearly scraping the ceiling. Jagged limbs jutted out at appalling angles from its oozing, undulating mass. As Amy fumbled frantically to illuminate the room with trembling hands, the shrieking specter vanished instantly. Though her cramped apartment hid no tangible night stalker come morning, the image of that gangly midnight phantom burning crimson red eyes into Amy's soul had already seared itself onto her psyche. In the weeks since the break-in from beyond, cautious optimism has slowly started displacing Amy's initial soul-crushing terror. She prays rational inner demons dredged up from dreamland, not Vile's otherworldly forces beyond human comprehension, might someday explain her devastating ordeal away. But for now, one persistent, insidious doubt remains knotted in the pit of her stomach when twilight descends. What if that crooked, hellish intruder still lurks unseen somewhere in the shadowy realm existing just beyond our own? An abyss filled with horrors waiting patiently for windows into our world to crack open once again. For Amy's sake alone, let's hope those answers remain forever obscured in darkness. Midnight Stalker. If Amy's unwelcome phantom visitor left you checking for monsters under the bed, this final chilling account of a road-weary traveler's ghostly torment may ensure sleep remains elusive indefinitely. Bone-tired after 8 mind-numbing hours behind the wheel, Jackson could scarcely keep his bleary eyes open when he finally pulled off the rural highway into the motel parking lot just shy of midnight. While the ramshackle inn had clearly seen far better days, its flickering vacancy sign called to Jackson like a siren song. He required basic shelter for the night, not luxury accommodations. The apathetic late-shift clerk registered Jackson swiftly in the otherwise deserted lobby. Yet as Jackson collapsed onto the room's stale bedsheet, something in the very air felt undeniably off. The scent of decay permeated everything, while an unnatural cold spot radiated from the farthest shadowy corner. Dismissing his misgivings as road fatigue, Jackson willed his racing mind to rest. Futile efforts, as it turned out. Jackson bolted upright just an hour later to the sharp crack of knuckles rapping on the hallway door. Peering outside revealed nobody lingering along the entire length of the flickering fluorescent corridor. Baffled but too exhausted to care, Jackson simply rebolted the door. But another round of persistent late-night pounding soon jolted him upright again. Gripped by irritation, Jackson stormed straight to the front desk to complain about the relentless harasser. Rather than alarmed, the clerk's hollow-eyed stare and bizarre calm as she dismissed the unnatural antics as beyond her control unnerved Jackson deeply. When she further suggested he not make trouble with whatever haunted this place, Jackson reluctantly returned to bed with the covers pulled tight. If only the torment had ended there. Jackson swears a massive humanoid wraith skulked in the darkest corner when he next jolted awake to the sound of wet wheezing. Scrambling to bathe his room in light revealed nothing except his ragged nerves and the creeping dread that he was no longer alone. Scant hours later, when that broad-shouldered looming specter boldly reappeared at the bedside, Jackson wasted no time abandoning his paid-for room to flee by cover of darkness. Temporary shelter be damned, no momentary peace under that cursed roof would ever come restfully. Whether born of a fatigue-fueled imagination or paranormal origins, the creeping fiend had shattered Jackson's fragile psyche for good. He swore to never overnight in such an ominous location again, lest the midnight stalker forever follow him home. Though we may never confirm the truth, Jackson's continued nocturnal torment hints whatever originated in that abominable inn's shadows have no intention of ever fully releasing its icy grip. And there you have it. 3 blood-chilling brushes with potential paranormal horrors lurking right under our noses. While I make no claims on the factual legitimacy of these tales, I can verify the raw terror flooding John, Amy, and Jackson's voices as they recounted their ordeals was no performance act. Something inexplicable invaded each of their lives that dreadful night to twist reality into a grotesque parody of itself. Their desperate cries into uncaring darkness still echo, longing to understand the unfathomable forces that shattered their worlds without warning. So, sleep lightly, friends, and remember our perception of normalcy balances precariously on a realm we scarcely comprehend. The shadows growing long outside your window may not be as empty as they first appear. What haunts the darkness, you ask? Well, do you really want to find out? Now don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos.